right now. Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome inside the Fan Cave. Bob Pompeani here with you until 11 o'clock. You can join us right here at 412-575-2600, or you can also hit me up on Twitter at KDPomp. We're live on KDKA Plus as well as 93.7 The Fan tonight. Want to hear from you about a lot of topics, beginning with the Pirates, who played in Toronto and not very well this weekend. I thought they gave up the first game of this series with some just terrible hitting with runners in scoring position, which has kind of plagued them all season long, wasting yet another starting pitching performance. They won yesterday on a nice breakout day and a good pitching performance as well from Mitch Keller. Today, Quinn Priester tried to do his best, but even with Rowdy Tellez gunning 3 hits and 4 runs batted in, the Pirates fell short today as they lose that game and lose the series, which brings them now to 5 games under 500. That's 9 games out of first place. However, they're just a game and a half, despite this record, a game and a half out of the third wild card, which makes me wonder if this continues, the pitching, they should get better than what they've shown offensively, you would think. And with any bullpen help, they should be a team competing for a wild card all the way to the end. And if that happens, what do they do at the trade deadline? Because I think it'll be interesting. Notoriously, the Pirates are sellers at that deadline. They may want to be buyers, especially with a pitching staff that seems to be young and very, very impressive so far. And obviously, there are going to be some potholes in the road. It's not going to always be good for guys like Jarrett Jones and Paul Skeens, but their talent, along with Keller and Falter, the way they pitch, gives them a chance, you would think, just about every game. 412-575-2600 is the number to call. We'll talk about that. We'll also get into the Steelers, who have 3 more days left of OTAs. And what we've learned from this is that right now it looks like Dan Moore still is ahead of Troy Fontanu, the number 1 pick out of Washington, who is earmarked to be an opposite tackle from Broderick Jones. Now, this may be just early on, and they're deferring to the veteran who's been here for 4 years and started 50 games. However, clearly, Fontana was drafted for a reason. You don't spend a first-round pick on a guy who's not going to play. I would expect when this season starts, you're going to get Jones, you're going to get Fontana on either tackles, and you're going to get the center from West Virginia, another rookie, right there to start this season. So they're going to have to get them as much play as they can in training camp and in the preseason games before they suit up in September to start their regular season. We'll talk about that. A lot of rumors still percolating around Brandon Ayuk and whether or not San Francisco will trade him, and is Pittsburgh interested, and will the Steelers come up with something that's an attractive offer, and then on top of that, give this guy what he wants in salary contract demands, which I don't know is possible based on how they are set up right now at $30 million. You still have guy like Cam Hayward, who wants to get his situation resolved. You still have Pat Freiermuth, who's eligible, I think, for an extension. There are a lot of things that are still going to happen here moving forward into this. Listen, today we have known half of the Stanley Cup Finals. The Florida Panthers eliminated the Rangers last night. Working on the other one, it was a very weird game tonight. The Oilers and the Stars. Stars must win Game 6 to force a Game 7 at home. But while they dominated shots on goal at one point, 30-8, this is midway through the third period, they still trailed 2-1. We'll get an update for you on that one. If Edmonton does win, that'll be the first time since the Gretzky days that they're in the Stanley Cup Final, and they'll take on the Florida Panthers in what should be a very interesting matchup. The NBA Finals are set. It's going to be the Celtics and the Mavericks. I'd like to hear from you on your take on that as well. So we have a lot to cover here tonight, and we get it started with you. Call 412-575-2600. We also have the number 1 Cochran Sports Showdown tonight, 11:35 after the late news on KDKA. That will feature Chris Muller, Jason Mackey, as well as Mark Caboli. So we'll take a break. We want to get you on the phone lines and air your opinions. It's the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call right here on KDKA Plus and 93.7 The Fan. All right, welcome back. Our GMC Sierra tweet of the night comes from Locked On Pirates. Henry Davis in AAA, 81 at bats, 296 average, 7 home runs, 17 runs batted in, a 1.078 OPS. And adjustments certainly have been made. Jason Mackey reported this in the Post-Gazette first, and Henry Davis will be here on Tuesday night. Again, what a pitching matchup that will be to see Tyler Glasnow, who leads the National League in strikeouts, against Jarrett Jones, a guy who is on his heels and doing a very good job, although his last outing was not one of his better ones. You're going to expect that after 10 outings, but he's a gamer. You got Skeens on Tuesday There's a lot of stuff going on there in this series. The Dodgers come to town, the Twins come to town. These are two pretty good teams. And the Pirates, as I said, 500. You can't afford to go 1-5 on this, or even 2-4. You'd like to do better than that, and it'll start on Tuesday night. All right, let's go to the lines. 412-575-2600. Jerry in Franklin is first up tonight. Hey, Jerry.
Hey, Bob. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
Couple things. It was nice to see Tellez get a little rowdy today. And the second thing is, if you're Pirate upper management, do you try to sign Falter now? And if you can't ink him up and they fall any further back, do you try to move him? Or, I just kind of wonder what you thought, what you would do if you were upper management. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate it. Number one, I wouldn't sign him now at all. I want to wait and see. This could be just an aberration, or it might be legit. But there's no rush to do that. Number two, depending on where they are in July, and if they are, let's say, 3.5, 4.5 out of a third wild card, chances would be very small to me that they would get in. Falter would be someone, if he continues to perform, who can bring back something in return. They'd have to make that decision, and I'm sure they're going to have a lot of people who might be on that same block. I wish it was differently. I wish they were in competitive. I want to see them add on, and I want to see them do something to add this pitching staff. They have 30 quality starts. That's among the top number in Major League Baseball. 30 quality starts, and yet I don't know how many of those have resulted in losses, but a lot, and they've just wasted efforts. If they don't waste those efforts and win games because of their starting pitching, they could be very much in that competition at the end, and then I'd like to see them add on. Let's go out to Mike in Newcastle, who joins us right now on the hotline. What's up, Mike?
Bob, how you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
Oh, very well. I want to talk about the Pirates' offense and how bad it got constructed this year. They do the two worst things. One, they don't hit enough home runs and they strike out way too much. You can't be either. You either have to hit home runs or not strike out much, and it seems like they are the worst of both worlds. And I just don't know who's to blame for this poor offensive construction, because it's just sickening wasting all these good starts. Not as much today because Priester didn't give such a great start, but more so Falter on Friday. And you just can't waste the starting pitching. What do you think, Bob?
Well, I think the hitting problems, are traceable to, number one, I don't think they have enough talent. But the talent they do have should be further along than they are. Like, for example, today. If you take Tellez out of that, they got 0 hits with runners in scoring position. The other night, they were 1 for 15. Go back to the previous series. Combined, 3 for 28. You have to hit with runners in scoring position. You have to come up with clutch hits once in a while in order to make things work. And that's the ultimate, the hit you need. You don't have to get 20 hits in a game. You have to get ones that are meaningful in key opportune times that can change the complexion of a game. Today, Brian Hayes hit a line drive to left as hard as you can hit a line drive, and that was with runners in scoring position. But bottom line is they haven't done enough of it. It has to get better. I fault the batting coaches, and that includes Derek Shelton in this, because he is a batting coach kind of guy. They got to get more out of these guys, pure and simple. Connor Joe and Andrew McCutchen right now are, I think, they're two leading hitters, or two of the top hitters on their roster. That's all well and good, but that should not be the case. They need Sawinski. They need Davis. These guys, Davis is coming back. We'll see what he can do. Sawinski has to be a fast tracker back up here and contribute the way that I think potentially he can. They need Hayes to hit. They need others, Cruz, on a more consistent basis, again, with runners in scoring position. Reynolds has been very much seesaw in his approach. I mean, he had 5 hits the one game, and then he can go a week without one. That kind of stuff has to change. He has 30 runs batted in, but most of them have come in clumps, and so I think it needs to be a more consistent level. Let's go to Matt and Butler. Hey, Matt, what's up? How are you?
Hey, Bob, good evening.
Good evening.
Hey, you just nailed part of it. I mean, they've got 4 very good quality starting pitchers. Nobody will argue it. But they have a very, very, very bad, worst team in the National League with runners in scoring position. That's the Pirates.
Yep.
You're not going to win too many games with that one. Also, you combine them with a bullpen that just isn't cracked up to what we thought it would be as the year has progressed. And those 4 starting pitchers aren't going to be able to carry wins. They're falling further and further behind Milwaukee.
Yeah, Milwaukee is not giving up any ground. That's a little surprising to me, because I thought they were kind of a flawed team in many ways. They gave up their best pitcher. They traded him away in the offseason. To me, that was a sign that maybe they were looking to, change things up a little bit. not necessarily rebuild, but whatever the reason, they're coming up with winning performances night in and night out. And I think now the lead is 9 over the Pirates. You can't keep losing series either. They have 2 tough ones coming up. You have the Dodgers, you have the Twins. It won't be easy, but again, to me, you got to go 4-2 on this homestand, and I don't think that's asking too much. Although given the competition level, it may be. But you got to dig out of this. If you fall 7-8 games under 500, the digging will continue. This is 60 games into this. We're a third of the way through, so things have got to start changing. Chuck in Uniontown is our next caller. Hello, Chuck. How are you?
Good evening and thanks. Bob, what you're saying is what I'm thinking too. They're just not seizing the opportunities. I mean, this is not a great Toronto Blue Jay ball club. It is a club that was, even
far from it.
The series was on the road. It was very much beatable by the Pirates, and they're just not doing it. But I ask you this: if Clint Hurdle manages this team, do they make the playoffs?
I have a lot of respect for Clint. I don't know. I mean, again, to me, I'm going to put my analysis of baseball means to me managers are responsible for outcomes of some games. I'd say 5 over the course of the year, not much more than that in terms of wins that they get because of usage of bullpens mostly. I don't know if it would make that big of a difference. I mean, people expected Chapman to be a $10 million pitcher, and he's been anything but that. He's been wild, out of control, and ineffective of late. Bednar's had his ups and downs. And then you get to the middle part of it. Contreras was not good. They got rid of him. Ortiz, at least yesterday, came up with a save on 3 innings. But they need more help in that bullpen. I don't think there's any question. Stratton has been up and down. The other guy, Kyle Nicholas, has got 100 miles an hour in his arm, but he's also very wild. So these are things that have to be straightened out. I thought the bullpen was going to be a strength, like most people. Hasn't been that way at all. 412-575-2600 is the number to call. The Edmonton Oilers have won their game 2-1. Now, the strange thing about this game is that Edmonton, with all that talent on their ice, they only had 10 shots on goal for the entire game. 10. Dallas outshot them 35-10, but the final was 2-1 Edmonton. So Connor McDavid made a beautiful goal in that game, and now he's going to get to his first Stanley Cup final against the Panthers. I'm going on the record and telling you right now, I like the Florida Panthers in that one. I just like the mix, what they have. Grinders, skilled players. They got a very hot goaltender. I think the Panthers are going to win that series, although good for Edmonton. It's the first time since the Wayne Gretzky days that the Oilers have gotten to the Stanley Cup final. Craig in Newcastle joins us right now on the hotline. What's up, Craig? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks. What's up?
I was just thinking about how when we send guys down to the minors, we saw Brian Hayes last year, got fixed and came back and tore it up, and now we see Henry Davis go down in a couple weeks. He's hitting well. Should we bring the minor league coaches up to the...
Well, the one that helped Hayes was no longer in the organization. So I want to see what they do with Sawinski down there next. And if Hayes or Davis comes up and plays well, then you can credit those guys. Whatever it was, he changed his batting dynamic, and those adjustments have produced big numbers, 7 home runs and 17 runs batted in very limited time down there. So hopefully he can, because they need him. They need that part of the order. They need power in a lot more positions than they're getting right now. So hopefully he'll get a chance and he'll take advantage of that chance, and hopefully Sawinski will get back here and do the same, because they need both those guys. As I said before, they are central to their success. Chuck in Columbus, Ohio joins us right now. Chuck, what's going on? You got the Memorial Tournament coming there in nearby Dublin this week. Should be fun.
Yeah, it should be. It's a big deal. It's a really big deal. I was just wondering, Justin Fields was the quarterback here at Ohio State. He was used 60 to 70% in a run option. And does the new coordinator over there for the Steelers plan on using him that way? And, just a slight version of that.
I think they should consider all options, Chuck. I think it's a good call. Arthur Smith likes the talent level there. They like to run the football. And if you're going to do that, especially if he gets in the game, now the issue is how much does he play? Because I think there's really little chance that Russell Wilson isn't the starting quarterback. So if Justin Fields is a backup, and he doesn't want to be a backup, good for him, he shouldn't. But maybe there's a way to get him on the field for certain special elements that he can bring. He's not going to return kicks. They have someone to do that, especially given this new kickoff rule that they have, although it may be less likely to result in injuries, so maybe it's just a regular play, and maybe they will do that. I don't know. I doubt it with Patterson being signed. But I think you will see Justin Fields have opportunities in different ways. At least you should. Why waste his talent? He's electrifying, especially when he runs the ball, and he still has a pretty good arm. It may be wild at times, but he's got a lot of strength behind him. We got to take a break here. It's 412-575-2600. That's the number of the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. We're on 7 nights a week right here, KDKA Plus, and most nights 93.7 The Fan.